Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices for Elliott wave and trading levels, and for the DAX here on the daily chart. You know that we've been looking at a couple of counts. Firstly, this particular count here where we have wave 3 here, and we're looking for an A wave, a B wave, and 5 waves down for wave C. And the other count is more bullish, as you know, which is up for 1 here, so this will be looking at wave 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. It has currently moved through the 61.8% mark, but that's sort of okay. I mean, this is just a sort of a bit of a guide stick, and sometimes the 61.8 or any of the other percentages can be hauntingly right or hauntingly wrong, so we just make sure that we count the actual internal structure. But this one is still in play, where we have wave 1 here, an A wave and a B wave and a C wave, and we'll go to the 1 hour chart in a moment and have a look at that. But we also need now to bring in another count, unfortunately, and we'll just put it on the table and we can eliminate it later. And that's looking at a more complex wave 3 correction in a triangle, in terms of wave 3 here, an A wave here, a B wave here, an A and a B and a C wave here for wave C, up for D and down for E for wave 4, and then moving up from that point. So we need to consider this one. It's not going to sort of bother us for the short term, but I need to just mention it, and we'll start looking at it here and there and bring it into the fold a little bit as necessary. But the first one I want to bring in, we'll have a look at the bearish one in the second instance, but the first one here, this wave 1, an A and a B and a C here for wave 2. I want to go to the hourly chart and look at that. And for that, we've got, squash it up here, we've got wave 1 up here, an A wave and a B wave here, and then coming down for the C wave, and I'll just move that out of the way now and get this into play here. So there is the case for this to be finished. I don't think it is the case, but it's probable, where we have wave 1 here, wave 2 here, wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we've been counting the last little 5 waves down here. I can move that one across here, with wave 5 coming in here, of 5, of C, of 2 here being in play here. But I don't really have any evidence of a move up here. Yes, we have this small move here, but and that will push a little bit higher, and we can look at that. First of all, if this is going to be a low here, then we also need to look at protecting any of the short positions that one may have here. So we'll go into the tick chart here, and we can also look to not only use a stop here, but also work out where to go long here as well. So I'm going to go into the tick chart here and just sort of focus on this little low here for a moment. I think I've done some work on here. I may or may not have. Yes, I have, but in a slightly different way. Okay, so what I can say here, this is 12,300. Okay, so what I can see here so far, I can see that this little move down is an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. It might get a little bit uglier in that this can be the A wave here and a B wave here and a C wave here, but the main point is that this is in 3 waves here. So this is a corrective, bullish corrective move, and we'll be moving to the upside, but we can pull back further here. So this little trend to the upside here is not completed just yet. So what we'll see next session is, I can't draw on this side of the tick chart here. We do want to see one more move high here, and then this trend that's coming through here will need this trend that's moving through will need to come up higher and then fall back here. And once it falls back, then we can draw a line through here, and then we can go long from that point, if need be, like you could go long through that point there. So this little trend up here is not finished, so we need it to finish before we take any action on that as such. So the bearish counts that we want to look at, coming back to just the daily, just coming back to the daily chart here, this particular count here, we have this as 1 and 2 here, and coming down for 3 here, and 4 and 5 coming down to roughly around the 11,500 mark here, and going into the 4-hour chart for that. So from the top up here, the wave B here, we've got wave 1, an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. This is a very sort of complicated, drawn out, as a wave 2, which is normally not the case. Normally, if this is wave 1 here, then wave 2 would take less time than wave 1. And we can see that wave 2 is more than wave 1 here. So it's likely to be a B wave here. Okay, but at the same time, we need to investigate everything. So in this case here, this move down through here counts quite nicely as wave 1 here. Now, I know in the previous instance, we've had wave 2 here, and we've gone 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for third wave, or even wave C finishing this off. But there's also the case for that to be wave 2 over here, and then have wave 1 and 2, definitely 5 waves in this little structure. So the market can come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, or the 38.2% retracement level, which was about there to there. So the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, that little high here, and the 38.2 retracement comes in there. So we, as I mentioned just in that little tick chart before, we can move up to this point here. So if we're going to go long, we still want this to move up, up into this space, and then pull back, and then if it moves up from that point, 5 waves up here. If it does give us 5 waves, I need to see it when it's finished, and a pullback, and then moves up here. Well, then we can go long based on that high here, but we need that to form first, and we need to look at it first. If you're short here already, then you need to look at the possibility of still allowing this to go up here, get that first high in here, and then we bring the stop in on top of that high, not this one, right? And we won't know that till we pull back into this space here, because there's still potential for this to come down in the big bearish picture, as I mentioned, down to 11,500 area here. So we just need to get through things. And we also know too that in terms of the trading levels, we've got group 1 here, which is 1, 2 and 3, in this case 100, 200 and 300. We know that when a market moves down into this space here, it starts to bounce around these numbers a lot here, the 1, the 2 and the 3. Markets move quite quickly between 8 and 5 in both directions, and 5 and 3 in both directions. But as soon as they start hitting 1, 2 and 3, or 3, 2 and 1 coming down, they bounce around a lot. So if you're going long, it's a beautiful place to build in, because it's slow and steady, and you get those support, and when you get support on 3, then you can get to 5, and it moves quite quickly to that. So we know that, so we're going to have to be patient through here as well. So just to look at this on a bit more detail on the 2-hour chart here, and I just want to grab something else here, which I had somewhere. Just bear with me a second. Okay, here it is. So I just want to show you that this why I've got this labeled as wave 1 down here in this case is I want to show you that on the cash market here. So this is the cash market here. So that's the top, and we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here. So that that counts quite nicely as wave 1 here. So that's why I've got this as wave 1 here. Okay. And then we've got wave 2 here. And I've got wave 2 sitting right over on this little corner here, and the reason for that is because I've got an A and a B, and I'm looking at all this as the C wave here. C wave's got 5 waves in it, which will be the 1, the 2, the 3, the A, the B, and the C for wave 4 and up for 5 here, even though it hasn't made a new high here. Because then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, in this one here, and this is where it closed today. So in this case here, if we call this wave 1 here, and then we go wave 2 here, then this can count as 1 and 2, and then a nice long third wave here, third of a third, which is really stretching out over those 2 sessions. So that really makes this one here the same thing here. So wave 1 and 2, nice strong third wave here, coming back for the 4th wave, back to the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree, and then down to 12,000 roughly for a nice bounce off here. And the bounce off here would be the A, the B, and the C coming back to this wave for 1 lesser degree, and then down from here as well. So we're still really on the bearish side of things. Yes, it is possible to have this as the end of it here, but let's just see if this, if this market moves up here roughly and finds support on top of this number here, well then we'll look at going long, okay? So we could say that price of 12,400, if that becomes a support, then we'll be long there for the longer term, okay? But otherwise, I don't see why we should buck this trend in any way. Yes, I can see that it's going to get complicated down here. It's still got to go through this pattern here roughly, but I think that this is a fair comment at this particular stage for this. Okay, that said, let's look at just cleaning a few things up here. Let's look at the AEX, which will be the same but different. Look, to be honest, I don't have a very clear count for this. This is about the best I can do. I mean, if this was going to be from the top here, if this was going to be an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down here, I'd need 5 waves. And yes, I did have 5 waves to here, or I could count 5 waves to here as well. But that's where I'd have to finish there and move up from there. But it made new lows here, so it's possible to have this here as well. I need to check the cash for that, but I'm happy with it here. It doesn't really matter. We've still got wave 2 here, but it still doesn't allow this to be finished here. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to come down for the 3rd wave. So I think there's a 4th and a 5th wave to come in here as well. So just go into the 2-hour chart, no, the 1-hour chart here. So yeah, I think this is where we were talking last time, weren't we? We were looking at this as wave 1 here, an A and a B and a C here for wave 2. So then wave 1 and 2, nice strong 3rd wave. So I'm still looking for this to be a 4th wave here, and if the DAX pushes a little bit higher, well, I'm okay to put this over here. And then if you're going to short this here, then just draw a line across here and short that. But I would, if this was going to turn, I just can't see how this is going to be. I can't see how from a B wave down to a C wave here, this is 5 waves. It just doesn't add up. So something's not quite right here, and the logical outcome or solution in the first instance would be to say that this is still in a bearish trend here. So it doesn't have support on top. Yes, it's testing support here, testing the 550 here, and 5 is a strong number, second strongest number in the market in my humble opinion. And it doesn't have support there yet, so there's no point in going long there. So I think we need to stay on the short side here. And the FTSE here, might have to go back out to, let's just go to the daily chart and get a bit of a picture here. So, okay, so, whoops, wrong chart, sorry. They're just sitting next to each other. So this is how we'd been looking at this here, which was wave 1 up here, and an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down into this space here, into the 50-60% sort of area through here. We have no reason to go long at this particular stage. The move from B down to C here looks like 3 waves, not 5, so we need 5 waves for the C wave. So if it looks like 3 waves, well then it's obviously not finished the 5 wave structure coming down through here. So I'll just drill in. So This is very much the same as the AEX as well, so I'll just move that up. We just don't need to be above there yet, so let's bring this in. So even in the sort of bullish short term here as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here, I can count this down as one. And before we had this, we thought that, well, that's 5 waves, that could be wave C there. But after we got these corrections here, we knew that that wasn't the case, so that's okay. So we need to look at this as the A, the B, and the C here, like the AEX. And then we need to look at this as down for 1 here, in this case back for 2 into the box here, and then move down into wave 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 coming sort of into that deep enough into that 61.8% mark there. So I'll just save that. And we'll look at this in a little bit more detail. So I'm not sure what I've been working on. 2-hour chart, no, 1 hour chart, that was the old one. So 1 hour chart here. So coming back into the top of wave B here, 5 waves down for 1, an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 2. And then I'd need to look at this as wave 1 here, and then back for wave 2 into that space here. So that can bring us into, just to get that there, that, well, let's just say close to 7,600 here into that space there, and then that's where we should see it fail or correct. So what we'll have to do at that point is we will, if it's going to be bullish, we'll be looking at this in this space here, or say the 7.6 here, and then we can look at just mapping out the future here. So is that's about right there. So we can expect it to come back down to go to 7,600 and then back to 550 in the next session. Okay, so we'll leave it at that for the time being. I'll just have a look on the tick chart, see if I've done anything here. Okay, yeah, so if this is 100 ticks, so if I look at this move up here, I'll look at this as wave A, then an A and a B and a C wave here, and then the C wave here, as you know, will want 5 waves. So we will look at this in terms of wave 1 and 2, and then all the way up to 3, A, B, C for 4 here, and we should look at 5 waves going up into 7,600 and then fail from that point. And then you know that we will be looking for it to come back roughly into this space here, to the somewhere into here, that you can work out the 50 and the 60% retracement level. So I move up and then move back here. But let's have a look at where the DAX and the other guys are sitting at that stage. Okay, so the last one is the MIB. So this is a 4-hour chart here. So you know that from the top of wave B here, we've been looking at 1 and 2 and 3 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 4. And then we wanted from the 22,500, we were looking for it to move down. So that's what we're looking for it to move. It should hopefully it can move lower than wave 3 here to help us out with that. I'll just go to the 1-hour chart, and so we can drill in that space. So from wave 4 here, just straighten that up, and that, so wave 1 here, let's put that there in that case. In this case here it fits as wave 2. Okay, so right, well, that does give us 5 waves to that point, doesn't it? That's not good. I was looking at like this in terms of 1 and 2. Oh yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, sorry. Seeing too many waves get seasick. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then down for 5 here. So we should see some sort of rally coming into play here. To be honest, I haven't really sorted out this little structure here properly. So there can be one more move down here before we get a bounce back up here. I mean, let me just see if I can pick it up on the tick chart. bearings, right, from 22, from the 22 area here, we want to get that. Should load faster, 22. So it is way up there. So, okay, so wave 1, wave 2, and then the third wave is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the whole third wave here, fourth wave, and this is probably the fifth wave here. So yes, we can start to see that rally, but that makes, I mean, that's definitely a correction because that's in 3 waves here, that's in 3 waves. Oh no, yeah, I mean, oh God, that can also, doesn't have to be, that hasn't made a new low here, so that can just be wave 1 here. So it can move down, it can move lower through here. There can be another, this can be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4 and 5 coming lower. So look, this is a nice number, 21,500. If it finds a nice support on top of that, then we can assume that if it finds support on 21,500, then we can assume that wave 4 is starting, okay? But still we're still one wave short within all of this here on this 1 hour chart. So we're not done here just yet. All right, thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Cheers.